FPV fears. What's up? Welcome to the channel. I'm King.Kieck-The, the slightly perturbed, and today you're going to watch something a little bit different than anything I've posted in the past, and hopefully different than anything I'll post in the future. So I'm going to get this out of the way right away. All of my subscribers, anybody listening who's not a subscriber, I just encourage you to play this video through its entirety. Whether you want to set your phone down or step away from your computer while it's playing, I don't care. Just let it play from beginning to end. This video is going to be about remote ID. There's a million videos coming out about this right now. Remote ID is an FAA regulation being imposed upon the RC aircraft hobby, whether it be airplanes, wings, helicopters, quadcopters, or drones, whatever. What is it going to do? Basically, remote ID is going to broadcast information about RC aircraft in the air, as well as the pilot on the ground controlling that aircraft. So the half of my subscribers that don't fly any sort of RC aircraft, they're gonna simply wonder, why does this apply to me? It doesn't. And you're right, you're not wrong at all. It doesn't apply to you unless you know somebody that's in the hobby. Maybe you got a brother or an uncle, or maybe your kid has been asking you about drones and you've been considering it. If that's the case, I encourage you to stick around and listen to how the government's basically going to be violating the safety and the privacy rights of anybody you know that's in the hobby, including kids from around the nation. This whole remote ID thing, the FAA is basically calling it a digital license plate for an aircraft or a drone. So I have two vehicles. They're both registered. They both got license plates affixed to them. And I've never had my car's location, speed, where I started driving from. I've never had any of that information relayed to an app to where the general public could pull that information up and find out where I am at any given time. But that's exactly what remote ID is going to be doing. As soon as I take off with my drone, I'm going to have GPS info as well as other info sent to an app to where anybody in public can open it up and find out information about where I am, who I am, what I'm flying, where I'm flying, and all that shit. They say it's for the safety of the skies, but I've done some research and I got some statistics that kind of paint a picture as to whether or not this even makes sense for our hobby. And so far we got 0 planes taken out of the sky in America from quadcopters. We got 0 people killed by FPV or GPS drone accidents. And we have $0,000 in property damage. There's 0. So really this just does not make any sort of sense. FPV quadcopter pilots especially, as well as RC plane and wing pilots, they typically find a nice secluded area away from people, airports, traffic, private property. While we're flying, we're trying to not cause any sort of physical bodily injury or any sort of property damage. But now commercial drones, commercial drone taxi businesses and all this shit that have been getting real popular over the past few years. It's kind of weird. Right before this whole remote ID thing came to life in general. Now these craft, these drones, whatever, they're going to be large drones. They're going to have 10-inch, 12-inch, maybe even larger propellers than that. They're going to be close to 15 pounds or more. If one of those things hits a plane, shit. Let's say one falls out of the sky and lands in your backyard from about 100, 150 feet up in the air, and you're out there tanning or you're mowing your lawn. If that bitch hits you, it's going to be the last time you mow your lawn. Or maybe you're cruising down the freeway on your way to work and one of these things lands on the freeway right in front of you, or a semi that's right in front of you. Imagine the accident that's going to cause. But these corporations like Amazon, Google, Walmart, they all have the money to throw at the lobbyists during these whole lawmaking things. And they just get them to create some sort of thing that takes any sort of competition out of the way if they can. And I believe that's what's happening. Now me, your nephew, many other innocent people that just want to fly remote control aircraft around for fun are going to be at risk. Not just the legal risk if we don't comply with this regulation. Now, there's close to 900,000 registered drones in the US, and I'm sure there's many, many more that aren't registered. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to keep up and manage policing this regulation. We're also going to be at risk of criminals. We're going to be targeted. It's one of the first things that comes to my mind. Let's just say child predator picks up a phone. He knows that little teenage girls like fucking drones, teenage boys like drones. He can open this app. He can find out all the drones flying around the area. He can click on a little ping and find out information about the pilots and where they're located. And he can effectively hunt. As messed up as a term that is, basically he can hunt for his prey. And the FAA is making that an option. I don't know if they thought about that or not, but I have kids. I think about these things, it's as messed up as it is. But not only that, let's say, Patricia down the block, she just found out that, her husband's been cheating on her recently. She's outside on the patio smoking a cigarette, pondering life as the way it is. And she keeps hearing this buzzing noise. A couple minutes goes by, she gets real sick of it, can't take it anymore. She knows that's the sound of a drone. Pulls up her phone, finds out exactly where it is, who it is, flying it, yada, 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 goes in the house, grabs the gun, goes down the block. Little Timmy is no more. There's plenty of stories out there about it happening for less than that. As messed up as that is. But the FAA is making this allowable. And not only that, man, but check this out. I'll be at risk of being mugged. So will everybody else. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I have a criminal record. If this app would have been around at the age I was when I was doing that shit, if this technology was around, man, there's no telling what I would have done. Not everybody thinks that way, but everybody needs to think that way because the FAA is making this an option for it to happen. And if you think, oh, well, why are they going to take you for your drone? Check this out. All right, I'm going to take you through typically what I bring on a day of flying with me, just to give you an idea of how much money that I have invested in the gear that I take with me on any typical day that I fly. So we'll start with the backpack. This backpack is about $80 or so. It's probably about $40 with the toolkit and some random stuff inside like props. So back here I got a microphone set. I take that with me for my vlogs. That's an $80 microphone set. Shit ton of batteries right here. They're anywhere from $20 to $25 a piece. And then right here we got some GoPros. Those are $300-$400 cameras. These little twins right here, man, they're about $420 to $450 a piece to build. Over here, this little guy right here, this Cinebot 30, that's about $260 or so, $100 camera on the top of there. Goggles right here, these were over $500. We got a $400 radio right here. Believe it or not, this freaking case that I carry those two things in, $45. Outrageous. Over here, this is the money bags, $1,000. A little bit over with insurance and all that. No longer can insure it though. I'm not sure why. If somebody hears this video and tells me that I'm wrong, please let me know because I would love to get this reinsured. All right, now that's just me, but I know people with way more gear than I got. And well, you could do the math, man. I'm just gonna call it $3,000. $3,000 that anybody could find, walk up, say, hey, FPV gear, please. That shit'll fly off the shelves. And the FAA is making this an option. I register my drones. I'm an FAA certified remote pilot. I'm a competent being as well. This drone is never flying itself. I'm always at the controls. Even if I have it doing some sort of, autonomous orbit, I have the controller in my hand. Now these commercial drones, they're going to be completely autonomous. Some dude at, Amazon is going to pull up a giant tablet for a base station of some sort or whatever for these drones. tap out a fucking GPS coordinate and off it's gonna go. This giant quad making way more noise than mine can make. Way more potential risk than mine could ever be. Just hope it doesn't drop your package out on your little chihuahua when it's out taking a dump in the backyard when your shit comes. You know, it's not going to have remote ID on it. You're not going to be able to track it down where it started flying from, you know, where it's at in 3D space like that. But you're concerned about my little tiny drones and the rest of the RC hobbyists. And those companies got the lawyers we don't have. So if it did hurt something and there's no remote ID, good luck on trying to get any sort of, you know, retribution out of that or whatever, if that's even the right word. Like I said earlier, if you haven't already, like the video, go down in the comments section and write something just to get this in the algorithm. The FAA needs to hear this type of stuff. They need to take this shit back to the drawing board and make it make more sense if they want to impose anything like this on our hobby. Like I said earlier, there's a whole bunch of STEM programs that are getting kids into this hobby. I'm trying to get my own kids in the hobby. So don't let their dreams be crushed or put them at potential risk in any sort of way. And for anybody in the FPV community, thanks for sticking around and listening this long. One thing I gotta say to you guys is quit bickering over this shit. Comply if you gotta. Don't comply if you don't wanna. Makes no difference to me, but it shouldn't make no difference to you whether or not I do. Shouldn't make no difference if Joshua Bardwell does or not. The only thing that should matter to us is having this shit not happen to us. And we got to come together in order to have that shit happen or even have a chance of making it happen. So once again, like the video, comment down in the section below, put a period and hit enter. I don't give a fuck. We need it in the algorithm. So thank you for your time. And I'll see y'all soon, I guess. Peace.